Hello there. So we are going to be going over a few tutorials, mainly stops, readjusting sizes, and commander preferences, and the hotkeys. So I'm going to play a new solitaire match. Okay, so this is what my screen normally looks like. We're going to start with readjusting the screen sizes. So if you look around, you'll see little 4 dots at different points around the screen. And adjusting those can cause you to have different size panels. So we have our in-game operation of what happens in the game. We have our text, and we can choose to highlight what happens in the game or increase the space we have for communication in text. We have our battlefield here, which we can decrease the size of the battlefield in the cards to increase the size of our chat and this. I choose to have the chat as far to the right as possible. Then we have this one, which increases the size of our cards while decreasing the size of our actual battlefield. So our cards are smaller. Oops, I will keep this hand. Our cards are smaller on the battlefield while our cards in hand are bigger. We can make the cards in hand bigger and the cards on the battlefield smaller. What I like to do is be able to have about 7 cards exactly in my hand, and that optimizes both card size in hand and card size on the battlefield. And we can actually make it a wee bit smaller. Then over here, we have our graveyard. We have, and if we right click on it, it will show number of cards in graveyard, number of cards in exile, revealed from top of library, effect zone, and my commander. So if I click on the flag, the commander will pop out, but seeing as how we already know our commander, we really don't need to have him always available. So we can choose to increase his size or decrease his size in the availability. We'll choose to just exit out of that. And if we want to open it, we can open our graveyard. Darkswarm 128's graveyard, our exile zone, our revealed zone, our command zone, but once again, all of this is redundant and unnecessary unless you're specifically hunting for something in the graveyard. So I choose to keep everything closed by default until I actually need to access some of it. And our graveyard will default to this little area anyway. So, you can see up here, we have our main phase, so I can press the 1 key and pass priority through each individual given phase. So because I have no creatures on the battlefield, it went straight from main 1 to main 2. If I press OK again, it will go to my end step. I'm at my end step, I'll press OK again, I've passed priority, and because I'm going solitaire, it's back to my turn 1. So, if you press the 6 key, it will automatically pass all the way through your turn. So, I will press 1 again, or I can just keep clicking OK to pass priority through the turn, pass 1 phase, pass to end phase. Now I am back. It's cycled through all the way back, untap, upkeep, draw, main. So now that I'm back at main, I can play my land. And now I hit the 6 key, and it will cycle all the way through the turn. So the 6 key is essentially as good as go. So I'll press 6 now, and after pressing 6, it just hopped me straight to turn 4. So I will continue to play cards until I can get Mr. Malek out. Okay, so now I have my 6 mana from Malek. I will pop him out of my command zone by clicking on my little flag, left clicking. I right click on him, and I hit cast. I can pay my 6 mana for Malek. Out he comes, and I no longer need my command zone, so I can put that away. Awesome. Here's the top of my library. I can reduce that down to a nice little card because I don't need to see how big it is, or I don't need to see it in detail. And if I do need to see it in detail, any card that I click the center mouse button on will zoom in so I can read the fine details of that, and also read the flavor text because flavor text is nice. Okay, I'm at my main. I can no longer do anything else, so I am good to just press 6. Top of my library. Okay, so now let's deal with, actually, I do not have enough, let's see, I do not have enough mana to kill Malek, so I'm going to show you as soon as I get enough mana to kill Malek. I'm just passing through my turns while drawing cards. There we are. Okay. So now I'm going to talk about changing where the commander goes. So if I right click on my commander while I have priority, if Malek is at Paragon would change zones, it goes to click to change. So if he would be unsummoned, he will go to my hand and not the command zone. But if I click on this, now when I right click on him again, if Malik is at Paragon would change zones, it goes to my command zone instead of hand. So that means if he is now unsummoned, he goes to my command zone instead of hand, which I'm not in favor of, so I clicked it again. But he will still go to my command zone instead of graveyard, command zone instead of library, and command zone instead of exile. So if someone is going to flicker form your commander and you want them to return, make sure that your commander goes to exile and not command zone. So now that I have enough mana to kill Malek, I will show you that I can. So right now, currently, he's going to go to command zone instead of graveyard. Let's have him go to graveyard and not command zone. I'm going to cast Fanning the Flames on him and toast my poor little Malek. X is currently 8. I am okay with that. Done. And Malek is now dead. So, he is in my graveyard. As I said, it will default here, so my Fanning the Flames is in the graveyard. Malek is in the graveyard. He is no longer in my command zone. So, I can close that up. And I think that is everything that I was looking to discuss, which is setting preferences. Oh, and regardless, he doesn't need to be on the battlefield to change the preferences. So I could have changed the preferences from the command zone, and I can also change his preferences from the graveyard. So if I want him to go graveyard, not command zone, now if I want him to go back to his command zone rather than going to the graveyard from future or in the future, I can click that again, and now the next time he changes zones from the graveyard, he will go to my command zone, and we'll change this as well. So now Malek will always go to, I guess hand not command zone is where he's going to go from the graveyard. I think that is everything I was hoping to get across for this lesson, so I hope you learned a little bit, and good luck with future games.